Hello, in today's video we are doing the recap of grade 10 and grade 11 financial mathematics. Let us get started. Lulu and Nolwazi deposit 30,000 into a joint bank account that pays a simple interest rate of 7.5%. How much money will be in the account after 8 years? Now, the formula that we need to use here would be our simple interest formula. The formula is written like this, where the A is the amount you get after the money undergoes growth, and it is called our accumulated amount. The P is the amount that you start with, normally your deposit. It's called the principal amount. The I in the formula is your interest rate. And finally, the N in your formula would be the number of times. In this case, it will be the number of years. Now, we need to go back to the question and then identify our components. The 30,000 would be our P. The 7.5 would be our I. The 8 would be our N. The only thing now that's left is for us to actually sub in into our formula. Wherever we see P, we would sub in 30,000 Rand. Well done. Wherever we see I, guess it. You sub in 7.5. Amazing. And finally, wherever you see N, you'll sub in 8. If you whip up your fancy calculator, normally Casio, you will get an amount of 48, or is it 4.8? It's 48,000 Rand. Perfect. Let's go to the second question. Now, in the second question, Tiamo and Reese deposit 30,000 into a joint bank account that pays a simple interest rate of 7.5%. How many years must they invest for to generate 48,000 Rand? Again, we were given a clue on which formula to use. We will use the simple interest rate formula. We have to go back to the question and then find our components. Tiamo and Reese deposit 30,000. That's our P. The interest rate in this regard would be 7.5. Our accumulated amount would be 48,000 Rand. The only thing that you have to do is now is plug and play. Wherever you see A, sub in its component. Wherever you see P, you sub in that component that belongs to P. Our I is 7.5%. And we are looking for our N. From here onwards, it's basic algebra. The first thing that you should always do is try to get rid of whatever is on the right, multiplying our bracket. And in order for us to do the inverse, we need to divide. Now we need to get rid of the 30,000, and we do so by dividing both sides by 30,000. You will then be left with the components that are inside our bracket. From here onwards, again, you solve for N by virtue of taking the 1 to the left. If the 1 goes to the left, it becomes a negative 1, meaning you are left with 7.5 times N on the right. However, we need to remove the 7.5, and the only way you can remove the 7.5 to solve for N is to divide both sides by 7.5. Therefore, we divided both sides by 7.5, and we are left with N on the right. The only thing that we are left with is now to calculate all of this into our calculator. So please take out your calculators and put in 48,000 Rand divided by 30,000 Rand minus 1 divided by 7.5%. What we will get is 8 years. Tumisha wants to invest 5.8 at a simple interest rate of 12.2% per annum. How many years will it take for the money to grow to 26,100? Now, again, we are given a clue on which formula to use, and we will use the simple interest rate formula. We need to go back to our story and find our components. Tumisha starts with 5.8, that's our P. The interest rate here is our I, which is 12.2%, and our A would be 26,100. The only thing which is left is for us to actually solve for the missing components. Wherever we see A, we put in 26,100. Wherever we see P, we put in 5,800. And wherever we see I, we resub in 12.2%. Now, again, the first thing you do when you're solving for n, basic algebra, remove this 5.8 by virtue of dividing it in both sides. This will be followed by subtracting -1 on both sides, followed by dividing both sides by 12.2. Now, if you use your calculator, you will get 28.68 recurring. Round this off to a whole year. So it will be 28 years and a couple of months. Angie wants to invest 30,000 into a bank account that offers a compound interest rate of 6% per annum. How much money will be in the account at the end of 4 years? We have a clue on which formula to use. We have to use the compound formula. Here the difference is the n is outside. We go back to the information that was given. Angie starts with 30,000. That's our P. Our I would be the 6, and our N is the 4 years. Go back to our formula and let's plug and play. Wherever we see P, we sub in 30. Wherever we see I, we sub in 6%. And wherever we see N or 4, we sub in N. Let us whoop up our calculators and calculate our final answer. The answer that we get is 37, or it's 37,000. Angie made a lot of money. It's 37,874. Yenzile has been given 5,000 for her 18th birthday. Rather than spend it, she has decided to invest it so she can put down a deposit of 10,000 on a car. What compound interest rate does she need to achieve this growth? Well, one thing is missing is the number of years that she needs to buy this car. So let us say that she intends to buy the car when she is 21 years old. That means that from 18 to 21 we have 3 years. All right. Now Yenzile starts with 5,000. That's our P. She has to have 10,000 after 3 years. So the 10,000 is our A. And our N would be 3 years. Again, we were given a clue on which formula to use, and that's our compound formula. Let us write our compound interest formula. Wherever we see P, we replace it with 5,000. Wherever we see A, we replace it with 10,000. Wherever we see I, well, we are looking for our I. And wherever we see N, we replace it with 3. Now again, we need to use algebra to actually solve this question. We are solving for I in this case. When you divide both sides by 5,000, you'll be left with 2 on the left, and then on the right you'll be left with this bracket. Now the only way I can get rid of the exponent so that I can be left with I is to cube root both sides. So we will cube root both sides. And if we do that, on the right hand side we'll be left with 1 plus I, and on the left hand side we will be left with the cube root of 2, which is 1 comma something. It'll be 1,259. Now we need to subtract 1 from both sides. That means that we have 0,2599, and that is equals to I. Finally, multiply this by 100. That means that I would be 25.99%.